You know, as director of Amnesty International in Washington, I was exquisitely good at that finger pointing. I mean, really. But you know what? In many cases, it was not the finger pointing that saved lives. I'll tell a story I've never told on record before, where the digitalis was not part of my activism. I was told that 6 people were going to be executed in Yemen, and that these people were innocent. It was going to be a political execution. And I had very little time to act, and I remembered a cocktail party that I had been at a few weeks ago, where I had a brief encounter with the Yemeni ambassador. And you know what? My inner intuition said as I met him, nice guy. He's a good guy. So, it's just my intuition. I'm like, oh, nice guy. I remembered, I flashed on that intuition. And I said to the universe, okay, let's check it out. And I got on the phone, I called the Yemeni ambassador, and I said, you know, I think you're a really nice person. And so am I. And you know what we have to do? In 24 hours, we have to save the lives of 6 people. And this is how we do it. It's just between you and me, Ambassador. You're going to tell your government that you got a call from Amnesty International. They're going to call for congressional hearings. They're going to do bad publicity, big campaign here in Washington. It's going to disgrace your government at a time when you don't need it. And the easy way to deal with this situation is just to call off the executions. That's exactly what he did. And those people are alive today. And I learned something from that form of action. Wow, I'm so good. You know, you can hear it in me. You know, I get that Baptist minister part of me. Okay, you guys are responsible. We've got to stop torture. You know that. But that is actually an unintegrated, knee-jerk, finger-pointing kind of reactivity that we need to transcend. Because somehow we've got to find the goodness in the other. We've got to locate that. If it isn't there, it's very much in your possession. I'm sure you see this in the wisdom and the teaching of, you know, your form of spiritual enterprise, is that you've got to locate the goodness that is there, even when it has 1,000 forms that will, you know, so bringing victims and perpetrators together is part of work I'm very interested in. Restorative justice, new modes of healing justice, of transforming the polarity of justice. That's a shift in consciousness. That's a shift away from polarized viewing of the victims are here and the perpetrators are there. How do we transcend that? Secondly, from observer to witness, and here's the story. Somebody asked me to tell the story. I'll tell you a quick story. From observer to witness, the new form of sacred action moves from observer to witness. What is that shift? I'm standing at the door of a hotel in Washington with Marie Deans. This story is also in the book, Creative Stress. With Marie Deans and Armshorn Pond. Marie Deans' mother was murdered. Mother-in-law was murdered. And she said quite soon, please do not kill another person. So you think you will make me happy, you know, about my mother-in-law. And she became an activist on death row in Virginia, the angel of death row in Virginia, accompanying men to the point where they were executed. And Armshorn Pond, the other person at this door, was 9 years old when he was picked up in Cambodia by the Khmer Rouge, and the other children he was picked up with had their heads smashed against the temple wall. They left Arn because he was clasping a flute like Krishna. They said, "Play the flute for us." He became the flute player at genocide. This little boy would play the flute as they murdered and massacred. And eventually that wasn't enough for them. For their entertainment one day, they grabbed the flute from his hand and they put a machine gun in. And they said, "Let us see you use this gun." And he describes, pulling the machine gun and seeing a woman walk towards him, bleeding from the wounds that he had inflicted on her, and he drops the gun and he runs through the killing fields and he escapes. And he says at this doorway to Marie Deans, "Why me? Why did I live through this?" And she says, "Because, Arn, you are a sacred witness. You are a witness of this tragedy that unfolded for humanity. And you can tell the story because you've come through it." And when he got up on the stage that night for this audience in Washington, D.C., he said, "I am alive today, not because bullets failed to kill me in Cambodia. I am alive today because I can see that I love again. I have the power of love." So that's witnessing. It's a shift. I talk about this in the book quite a bit, the concept of witnessing, because once you shift from observer to witness, you are in a modality of consciousness that is quite distinct. So to give you an example of this, if you're observing something inside yourself, right? Let's say anybody here ever been humiliated?
Of course not.
No, okay. So you're remembering, that's what observing is. It's like remembering you're humiliated. And you get to that moment, and boy, you feel the blood running again, you feel it running to your face, you feel that energy, right? That's what the observer can do. It can take you right there but you fall inside the energy. You actually re-experience humiliation. If we were to do a scientific inquiry into it, the person would say, "What's humiliating you?" And you say, "Well, it's my memory of humiliating." But your blood pressure, the biochemicals that are going through your blood, your cortisol level, all of those things indicate that you're having a humiliation experience. The witness is this. The witness is this aspect of consciousness. It comes, you can say it comes from any of these forms, but it's a little beyond memory. And it comes and it sees the humiliation experience. And it sees its nature. It witnesses its nature, but it doesn't go inside the feeling. So, from the observer's point of view, you've entered the humiliation energy. From the witness point of view, you're actually seeing the quality of energy that humiliation is. When you see that, you will not humiliate another person. That's what the witness does, because the witness then says, "Look how vile, look how horrible humiliation energy is." It's actually witnessing the total quality of humiliation. When you've witnessed that humiliation, the quality of the energy, then you know it. I mean, to be gross, it's the difference between dog poop and chocolate mousse. You know the difference. You really do. You see and you experience the energy and you see its quality and you say, "Oh my God, now I know what it is to be humiliated." Not, "I am re-experiencing humiliation." That's different. Now I know what it is to be humiliated. And I can help others who've had humiliation experiences and do behaviors that don't precipitate humiliation in others.